Let's look at the next section, solving absolute value inequalities. So whenever we have an absolute value, if we are doing like absolute value of -6, it equals 6, okay? But also absolute value of +6 equals 6. So what we have to say is that if we have the absolute value of x equals 6, x could equal 6, or x could equal -6. So we're going to use this same principle whenever we do solving inequalities. So let's look at the first one. It says absolute value of x less than a are all values between -a and +a. So we're going to set this up as a compound inequality with -a on the left side, +a on the right side, and use the same inequality. So see how this is the same inequality? And then we solve it just like we solved the compound inequalities in the last section. Okay, so then if we have where the absolute value is greater than a, then all values are less than -a or greater than +a. So we would write it as two inequalities. You could also write this similar to the way that that was written above, like -a is greater than x is greater than a. But that kind of doesn't make as much sense as separating it out like this does. But see how this right side is the same as that? And then if we flip it around, this left side is the same as that. So when we have the greater than symbol, we're going to set them up as the two inequalities. When we have the less than symbol, we'll do the compound inequality. Okay, so let's start with this first one. Let me go ahead and change my color. So we're going to say, since this says greater than, we're going to say 6x is less than -12, or 6x is greater than +12. So that's how we were using that little template right there. All right, so now solve. So x is less than -2. Solve. X is greater than 2. So when we have our inequality on the number line, we have 2, we have 0, we have -2. So if x is less than -2, it's open circle going left. If we have x is greater than 2, we have an open circle going right. So x can be anything smaller than -2 or bigger than +2. So we can also write this in our interval notation. So the left side, this can be represented as -infinity to -2. We use parentheses. Union with 2 to infinity. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, so this is a less than symbol. So that means I'm going to set it up as our compound inequality because of the less than symbol. So x over 3 less than or equal to 3, and then we're going to do -3 on the left side. To solve that, we need to multiply both sides by 3, well, all sides by 3, I should say. So -9 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 9. And it's not always going to work out like this, it just, in this case, it did. So we could put 0 in the middle, 9 on the right, -9 on the left. So x is between -9 and 9. And the way we know that is because it has the less than symbol. That tells us that it's going to be in between. If it had the greater than symbol, it means that they're going opposite directions. Okay, so then we can write this as the interval notation of -9 to +9. We use brackets because we have closed circles, because we have the or equal to sign. All right, let's do the next one. This one's a greater than symbol again. So we're going to say x minus 10 is less than -2, or x minus 10 is greater than +2. So then we solve it out. So add 10, add 10. X is less than 8. Add 10, add 10. X is greater than 12. So those are the two options. So 12, 10, 9, 8, or 11, 10, 9, 8. So this is both open circles. This one say X is less than, so it's going to go to the left. This one says X is greater than 12, so it's going to go to the right. And then we write an interval notation. So an arrow heading to the left means negative infinity to 8, parentheses, union, 12 to positive infinity. Let's go to the next one. This is another greater than symbol, so I'm going to do X plus 2 over 3 is less than or equal to negative 4. And then we have X plus 2 over 3 is greater than or equal to 4. And then we need to solve it. Start by multiplying by 3. So X plus 2 less than or equal to negative 12 minus 2. X is less than or equal to negative 14. The next one, multiply by 3. X plus 2 greater than or equal to 12 minus 2 minus 2. X is greater than or equal to 10. So on the number line, 10 is going to go on the right side, negative 14 is going to go on the left side. So X being less than or equal to negative 14. So closed circle heading left. X is greater than or equal to 10. Closed circle going right. Let's do our interval notation. So negative infinity to negative 14 union with 10 to positive infinity. Okay, we have one more. This is a less than symbol. But before we even begin, we just need, like on all the other ones, we had the absolute value all alone, okay, on the left side. This one, we don't have the absolute value all alone, so we have to get it alone before we start doing our compound, our compound inequality. So this is absolute value of 2 minus 3x is less than 3. Okay, now it's in the right format where we can go ahead and do our compound inequality. So negative 3 is less than 2x, or 2 minus 3x is less than positive 3. Then we solve it. So minus 2, negative 5 is less than negative 3x is less than 1. And then divide by negative 3. So that's going to change things up, because anytime you divide by a negative, these inequalities switch, or with compound inequality, you could actually just flip these guys. So I'm going to say negative 1/3 is less than x is less than 5/3. Because we divided by a negative, that's why we were able to do that. We could have switched the symbol, but then we would have to switch it back, so it just would not make sense. So this is going to be negative 1/3, which is below 0, and then 5/3, which is above 2, or above 1, sorry. Open circle, since it's less than, it's going to be everything between. So our interval notation is going to be negative 1/3, 5/3. Okay, one other thing is the and the or. Because this is greater than, this is an or. Okay, so see how it says or? So this is or. So x can't be both. X can't be less than -2 and greater than 2. It can only be one or the other. So it's an and. Those are the two options for x. Whenever it is less than or equal to, it's everything between these two. So this is an and. It's between -9 and 9. The next one, number 3, it was greater than 2. And then we ended up with either it's less than 8 or it's greater than 12. It can't be both. This next one, it's also a greater than. So this is an or. So it's either less than or equal to -14 or it's greater than or equal to 10. And this last one was a less than symbol. It's between these two numbers, so this is an and symbol. All right, so go ahead and try the in-class problems.